Hello and welcome to Talking Pictures, a podcast where we discuss the movies and TV shows we've been watching. I'm your host David, and joined with me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you?
The Last of Us was fucking class.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. This week we're going to talk about the Last of Us TV show. We're Saturday, so a week from the first episode, so we're going to talk about just the pilot and kind of our first impressions. I think maybe we might do a deep dive into it when the whole thing is released and we can fully analyse it. But The Last of Us. Brian, have you any thoughts on The Last of Us?
No thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your relationship with The Last of Us? Have you played the games? Where do you stand with The Last of Us as a whole, not just as a TV show, but as a franchise?
In school, The Last of Us game in 2013, 14, 15, it was the talk of the shit. I remember pictures of me and my friends and talking about how great the game is, and the characters were just so invitingly lovable. They were great, and I remember watching the game as a cut through rather than playing it himself. This has been the first game. You know, The Last of Us 2 is a completely different topic of conversation, which I doubt is going to be adapted for the HBO show, so I'm going to leave that out of it. But The Last of Us 1, I remember texting my friend, oh my god, this show's just fucking great. And then I remember texting, I hope when we get to this person, we get to see them do this, and then, wonder where they're going to do next, and, is there any villains to come into it, and, giving me hints and giving me clues, and, okay, this person is that person, and this is the game I'm talking about, not the show just yet. And I remember my friend telling me, just remember that this is Ellie and Joel's story. It's about them. And I was heartbroken, but I was also happy with the whole game, where it goes, how it ends. I had a few predictions like, this is clearly going to happen, and I was wrong. So, and the reason I'm being vague about it is because David here has not completed playing the game, The Last of Us.
Yeah, so on the opposite end of the scale, I've only just started the game. So when I heard the game was coming out, one of our good friends, Richie, was constantly like, you need to play this, you need to play this, you need to play this. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And I just kept pushing it off. And then as we got to the week of The Last of Us, I was like, I better start playing it. So I'm midway through the game at the moment. So I said, if I just play it enough that I'm ahead of the show, then I'll be okay. I won't get any spoilers. So I think we'll start talking about the show relatively soon. But just so everyone knows, a bit of a spoiler warning here for the first episode. We're just going to talk about the first episode, but we're going to go into full spoilers about it. We won't be vague like we are with the game.
Yeah.
Just for my own benefit. That's why we're being vague about the game, is for my own benefit. But
I do have a question though for you before we start talking the episode. You're playing the game a couple of steps ahead of the episode count. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Are you going to finish the game, pretty much watch how that story concludes on the game, and then a few days later watch the finale? Because for me, the first game is ingrained in my mind for so long, knowing, and this can be further discussed in the episode itself, but knowing what happens in the game and is likely destined to happen in the show, as some adaptations aside, it doesn't bother me. And that's a funny thing as well, like when it comes to like spoilers as well, like knowing something doesn't take it away. It's how we do it. And I'll further explore this as we're talking about the episode, but it feels like I'm reliving watching this story unfold again, just in the traditional medium of film and TV. But what are you, David, going to do? Are you going to watch the finale and the show and complete it first and then finish the game, or keep in path where you are right now and finish the game, and then a few days later, I know the game's end, so this is probably going to happen in the show? How do you feel about that?
I think I'll probably finish the game. I'll probably finish it sooner than what I initially intended, was to kind of nearly play it and just keep up with the show.
Yeah.
But I think I'll just finish the game and experience it like that, because you can make the argument, I suppose, that the way that it was intended to be told was through the video game.
Yeah.
Because that's how it was made.
Yeah.
If it was meant to be told like a book, it would have been a book. If it was meant to be a show, initially, it would have been a show or a movie. But because it's a game, you obviously are going to spend tens of hours with the characters, depending on how you're playing it. But you get to spend so much more time with them. So I think I'll probably finish it all the way through.
But you're going to be so close to the show, there's not going to be much of a separation to it.
No. But no, the show is more of just a different way the story is being told to me.
Okay.
Which I don't mind. That's the thing with these adaptations is this TV show is more for the people who aren't going to be playing the games. Mm-hmm. That aren't going to pick up a controller and put 15 to 20 hours into it. Someone like, you know, your parents or your partner or someone like that doesn't play video games but has heard good things about this, and it's a show. Oh, I recognize Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I recognize Bella Ramsey. I've heard it's great. Right, we'll put it on, and it seems to have exceeded expectations. And I think maybe that is a testament to how good the game is that the first episode is essentially a 1-for-1 remake.
Pretty much.
Of the game. It adds a little bit. The starting part with Joel's daughter Sarah, that's all new. That's all new content.
And it elevates her character. I remember being heartbroken watching her die in the game, and knowing that it was coming, I was still sitting on my couch with my arms tightly crossed, and I knew it was coming, and I didn't have a happy face on me.
No.
You know, I had pretty much the opposite of a smile. I was like, oh no, okay, here we go.
You kind of have that moment where you're like, even though you know what's coming, you're like, oh, maybe it'll be different this time. Maybe it won't happen.
Well,
I always get that when I watch.
Well, I knew things like that was going to happen because those are plot points. Those are.
No, but in your own, like, maybe it'll be different. Maybe it'll be your hopes and dreams. But no, you knew it was going to happen, and
I think it's more so, you know, you're gonna get your hand chopped off because you've seen your future self, and you know how your life is led, because you know where we're gonna get to, but we have to go through this to get to it. You have to go through the bushes of thorns to get to the sunshine and rainbows. I thought the whole episode was just great, but let me start here with the opening scene in the 60s.
with fear and dread scene.
That was so good. That was such a great setup. I loved how it was done in like a talk host show as an interview rather than something serious, and that it was done in the 60s. And then we skip 40-50 years into the present, and now the planet is hot enough for this to happen in a reality, because this is real. This virus, it happens to ants, and so they've put an element of reality into this, which makes it all the more fearful. And of course, the opening outbreak scene was great. Up to the minute, the car scene was when they're in the truck. The shot of the old lady out of focus in the background, twitching with her mouth open, and then you see the dog looking at her, and you know the dog doesn't recognize it, and then you see how the infected, such as the old lady, she has fucking spores coming out of her mouth, and the way they're not like zombies where they like eat and munch. No, it looked like it was sucking on the fucking victims, and
it's just something that we've never seen before in this type of
something different
infection genre. We've had like The Walking Dead and 28 Days Later with the infected, but this is something new. This is for a new audience. This is changing it up.
And then we jump to the current setting 20 years later. We are introduced to Ellie, Bella Ramsey, who up to the point where she kicks the tray across to the fireflies and counts to 10, ending it, fuck you. That's fucking Ellie.
Yeah.
That's Ellie. She is Ellie. That's the essence of Ellie right there.
I haven't spent as much time with her as you have,
Yeah.
but in the time that I have spent, when she was up and she said that line, she counted to 10 and she goes, fuck you. I'm like, oh yeah, no.
That's Ellie.
All my, worries were qualm there. It was fine.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing here. And that was, I think a lot of people had those reservations about her. Everyone for some reason was really, Pedro Pascal, perfect casting, going to be great. Bella Ramsey, I'm not 100% everyone was a little bit wary, but I think she, in this first episode, she just knocked it out of the park, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her, especially going forward.
And the little things where she goes to charge at him like they did in the game, and he's just
Brushing her off,
like, brush her off like it's like a twig on the shoulder, and she's like saying to him asshole, and she shoves him, and she's being a cheeky little bitch, but that's her. She's vicious. She's vulgar, and that's because of the way the society is right now for kids. I like how Tess, her character, mentions born after the outbreak.
Yeah, that was something I was going to ask you. Do you know how old Ellie is? Jared, she's supposed to be about 15, 16?
She's supposed to be 14.
14, yeah. So the big time jump after the initial outbreak and Sarah's death, we just jump 20 years later.
Yeah.
And that's a huge portion of, that's a huge amount of time, 20 years. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, we're going 20 years in, and you're meeting someone who has never experienced the pre-outbreak.
Yeah.
And she's living in this world that's just completely run down. It's absolutely destroyed.
And you're gonna see that in conversations in upcoming episodes, because I remember some moments in the game where Ellie's talking to Joel, asking him questions about before the outbreak, and it's like, what the fuck? I'm one in specific, like I'll not say it now, but it's not a spoiler or anything. It's just it'd be a fun conversation to witness for the first time, be it the game or the show. I keep forgetting that you're going to play the game eventually. So yeah, overall, knowing the game and then even knowing the second game, I look forward to the characters yet to come and to return in future episodes. But yeah, overall, the opening scene in the 60s was such a great setup. The shot for shot sequences that was just pulled right from the game, from the truck scene to the house being on fire to your watch is broken to even the scene where Joel beats the shit out of a known face guard, not some faceless
someone he has a relationship with.
And we cut to Ellie we cut back to her looking at Joel as if she's a bit scared of him, and I
didn't feel like it was scared. It was weird. I kind of saw like she was kind of nearly admiring it. Do you know, it was weird. I'd have to go back and watch it again, but her face kind of, I didn't get the sense that she was scared of what was going on, but she was interested. She wanted to know what was going to happen, what was happening.
I may be scared. Well, we'll see how it does play out, but perhaps at least it is more so surprise that he had that in him. And I loved how Joel released it, like rather than it was an outburst of full on attacking this person.
Yeah,
because
he's having a flashback to
his daughter
dying.
And I love that already. Now we are seeing a father protect a daughter.
Yeah, they already have that. Even though it's a slight bond, it is a bond, and it's only gonna, I'm only halfway through the game, but that this is gonna grow, and there's gonna be a level of trust that goes between them, and it's gonna grow. So I'm excited to both finish the game and see how we go. The one the only criticism I have really of the episode, and I'm wondering if you have the same. The last scene where they find out that Ellie is infected.
Yeah,
that felt so rushed. That felt like it was in the game. It is a much bigger deal, and it felt like, and that for me is like the plot of the game is that she's infected, and I'm taking her, taking her to the Fireflies, like they are in the episode, and I felt like that's what feels like to me is the game, is getting Ellie to the Fireflies. So I felt like in the show it was really glossed over, and it felt like really quick. It felt like they had to wrap up the episode, so it wasn't given as much time or attention as it deserved.
Let me ask you this. When you played that bit of the game, did you have to wait a week to continue it?
No. So
we know we're getting more episodes where it's going to continue, so maybe when we watch the first 5 minutes of the next episode, if it's them escaping into the city,
maybe they can talk about it
and they pick it up from there.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And that's why I'm and initially I was put off by it, but I had a bit of a think about it, and I'm quite happy with it. And I think in terms of getting Ellie to the Fireflies, I think that is going to be more established in terms of how important it is and how crucial it is, rather than just being a piece of cargo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, can't wait for the next 7.5 weeks now. So
yeah, I suppose that's a good way to put it, is that for the show, when the show is airing, that's the only time really in its lifetime that you won't be able to jump from episode 1 to episode 2 straight away.
Yeah.
So it's only a problem for us watching it live now,
But
otherwise...
I'd like to also reiterate, this feels like to me that I am watching the game again, or at least in this sense, I'm reliving watching the story. This is me sitting down watching this. No one can be interrupting me. I cannot be pausing it. I cannot be stopping for chats. I watch it in the sitting I'm currently in, and I don't leave until it's over. This is more important than watching House of the Dragon for me right now. So yeah, this is great.
This is a recommend from you. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, sure. If you like. Of course, it's a fucking recommend. Yeah, The Last of, and do you know what's even better? It's because it is Pedro Pascal. And it's even more better to see Bella Ramsey play the role. She's great. I love it. I can't wait until we get more episodes focused on her, where Joel takes a back seat because of certain developments in the game. You know, so
Okay.
yeah, that's my piece with the Last of Us premiere.
Great.
What about you?
Yeah, I think, from playing the game and then immediately watching it, like, I don't have the couple of years of living with it.
Yeah.
Seeing it nearly 1 for 1. It's a show that definitely, if I hadn't played the game, I would continue to watch. I'm watching it with my partner, and she seemed happy watching it and wants to watch it again. So, it's definitely one, I don't think anyone that's going to be listening to this probably is confused about us recommending it. We definitely say to watch it. So I'd be interested to see how it goes both in the game and then how that is adapted for the show. So
I already know actors who are cast for characters currently in the game, and any other actor I know that is going to come up in the show are not from the game, which is interesting, and I like that quite a lot. It's just where and when they're going to be fitted into it. I like that aspect. And yeah, but to me this is as much as it is Joel and Ellie. Right now it's Joel. Pedro Pascal. Fucking love him. Pedro Pascal, he's on a roll. Love him. Yeah. Have you any other lasting thoughts?
No, I think we've kind of said it all there. I think when the whole show is out, we'll do a full season review.
Yeah.
Talk about everything. So stay tuned for that. That'll be in 7.5 weeks maybe.
What do you expect of Tommy when we see him again?
Tommy, I don't know, because playing the game I haven't seen him again.
Yeah, that's specifically why I'm asking.
I'm excited to see him.
In the show, not the game.
In the show, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what to expect. The fact that you've asked me this, maybe I should expect something.
I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect at all. I'm excited to see Gabriel Luna. I'm a big fan of his. I really enjoyed him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then he wasn't too bad in Terminator either. He was a good Terminator. So I'm excited to see him again and see what... You've got me worried for him now, but... No,
nothing to be worried about. Just I'm thinking of a scene between Joel and Tommy in the game.
Okay, say no more.
I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to give you any detail, but I'm looking forward to Pedro Pascal and Gabriel Luna to play that part out. They're going to play that part out. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. So that's it, I guess, for episode 2 of Talking Pictures. Appreciate you listening. If you want to follow us on social media,
follow us on social media. Sure.
Our Instagram is Talking Pictures Pod and our Twitter is Talking Pics Pod. If you want to leave us a review or leave some comments on stuff you'd like to see, we'd appreciate that.
Do I sound good any better this time?
Yeah, I think we might sound better this time. But yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
Lovers, not haters.